What is the most absurd fact you know? That after the invention of basketball in 1891, it took another 15 years before someone thought of replacing peach baskets with metal hoops with nets. Previously, it was necessary for someone with a ladder to get the ball out of the basket after each point. Almost all world records for growing a giant pumpkin have been broken by pumpkins grown from the seeds of the previous record-breaking pumpkin. The seeds of a pumpkin that broke a world record can be sold for exorbitant amounts of money. If you start searching the internet for information about competition among pumpkin growers, it will lead you down a very strange rabbit hole. In the past, pineapples were so expensive and rare that rich people rented them for fancy parties as decorations. The world's only stuffed whale is located in Gothenburg. It is a mom whale, and you can even open its mouth to see inside. People used to dine in it, but later the entrance was restricted because some couple had sex inside. Brats have no taste for music, but under the influence of cocaine they begin to like jazz. Teddy Roosevelt wanted to set up a fighting ring in his office as governor of New York. When he failed to do so, he began inviting people to meetings at his governor's mansion. While he was president, he even studied jiu-jitsu in the Oval Office. Mark Antony brought sand from Egypt to Turkey to cover the entire beach for Cleopatra. For this reason, Cedar is now known as Cleopatra's Island. Not really surprising, more sad, we don't know Albert Einstein's last words because he said them to a German nurse who only spoke English. Space is only 100 kilometers away from us. In 1927, a young man named Ebenezer Byers injured his arm on a train. To help numb the injury, he was prescribed a drug called Raditor. He must have liked the drug very much because he took it again and again until the effect wore off. Then he began to have headaches, lost weight, and his teeth began to fall out. And in 1931, his lower jaw fell off. It turned out that Raditor was just radium mixed with water. That was all. He voluntarily irradiated himself for years until he finally died in 1932. If you take a leech and put it in a maze, it will sometimes be able to get out. If you take that leech, grind it up, and feed it to another leech, that leech will know how to get out of the maze. This is called chemical memory. There's a jellyfish called, I have no idea how to spell it, that can control its own mystery process, which makes it immortal. An average adult male has enough iron in his blood to make a 5-centimeter iron nail. Crows have the intelligence of a 7-year-old child. They recognize faces, make projectiles, use currency among themselves, understand physics, and are self-aware. People have seen them throw walnuts at intersections to be run over by cars. And they waited for the green light to turn on to pick up the seeds from the street. If you make them angry, they will report you to other local killers and pass on their hatred for you to their descendants. They will make you an enemy for life. They will throw stones at your car windshield and punch holes in your door glass. I know this last fact from personal experience, because my grandmother made enemies in the form of local crows when they started destroying her crops. She chased them away with her broom and accidentally killed one by throwing her shoe at it. Every time I visited her, the crows would crawl all over my car, shoving blackberries into the air vents and exhaust pipe. Even after my grandmother died, they continued to chisel her tombstone and leave shells and blackberries around her grave. A large amount of sand on tropical beaches is parrot fish feces. Parrotfish eat algae and microorganisms that live on corals. They crush them in their beaks and pass them through their digestive system. Some individuals produce 900 kilograms of sand per year. You will never find broccoli growing in the wild because it has been bred through centuries of careful plant breeding. The same goes for cauliflower, white cabbage, kohlrabi, and Brussels sprouts. All of these varieties are bred from wild mustard. Lewis and Clark's expedition can be traced back to them because they left excess mercury deposits in the soil. All of them suffered from constipation due to their meat diet, so they took smuggled mercury-based products called thunderclappers. Replacement eyelids can be made from the foreskin. I found this out about 90 minutes ago. Although this operation has a terrible side effect, the person will remain a member of the eye for life. In 1304, the Catholic Church was forced to stop the excessively abusive behavior of one of their bishops. The Bishop of Lincoln, John Dalderby, violated canon law and excommunicated the entire town of Newport Pagnell, depriving its residents of the right to participate in religious services and receive blessings. This happened because his friend's pet falcon got lost in the city. People could not find it because of this. Dalderby thought that the falcon had been stolen and decided to punish everyone. Whisker crayfish have the largest penis-to-body size ratio. Their penis is approximately 8 times the length of their body. In an adult male, this would be equivalent to a penis length of approximately 14 meters, or the length of 3-part Toyota Corollas from bumper to bumper. In Japan in the 1980s, an unknown person or group of people kidnapped the president of a candy company. After that, they began to lead the police around, claiming that they had poisoned the company's candy. No poisoned candy was found. The attackers then targeted another candy company. They poisoned several packs of candy from this manufacturer and again started taunting the police. They stopped because the police chief committed suicide by setting himself on fire. More than 1 million officers worked on the case. But not a single piece of investigative information led to the arrest of the man who became known as the monster with 21 faces. It's one of my favorite unsolved mysteries, especially considering how many clues the perpetrators left for the police. The bones of hollow birds are not lighter for the sake of being lighter. They are also more dense. This means they weigh about the same even though they are hollow. The structure adds some stiffness but doesn't actually make them noticeably lighter. The actual reason that bird bones are hollow is to create extra volume for the air sacs that are part of their, extremely different from other animals, respiratory system. The inside of birds' bones are part of their respiratory system. In addition, air only passes through the bird's lungs in one direction. All air sacs are basically pumping air through them. Birds are strange. Albatrosses sleep only half of their brain at a time so they can keep flying. Some songbirds make diapers, a kind of fecal pouch that their parents throw away to keep the nest clean. There is always something wrong with these birds. In the 1960s, some CIA officers thought it would be a brilliant idea to use a cat with a microphone and antenna to spy on Soviet agents talking in Washington parks where reliable bugs could not be installed. There are several versions of how the project ended. The prototype cat was hit by a taxi right at the beginning of the first field test. B. Cats proved to be too difficult to train and control. Therefore, the ones that were reinforced with microphones and antennas returned to their usual urban cat life. There are more bacteria in you than you are, all thanks to the human intestinal flora. Scientifically accurate estimates of the ratio of bacteria to human cells, 38 trillion microbial cells versus 30 trillion human cells. This results in a ratio of 1.3 to 1. During World War II, a ship called the USS Oden won a naval battle by throwing potatoes at a German submarine. This caused enough panic among the enemy to force it to submerge. After that, depth charges were dropped, destroying the submarine. It is believed that the missionaries convinced Menelik II, the Emperor of Ethiopia, to buy 3 electric chairs for the purpose of humane execution. At the time, Ethiopia did not have affordable and reliable electricity, so 2 of the chairs were used as garden furniture and the 3rd was converted into a throne. In fact, there are blood vessels that prevent light from reaching certain areas of the eye, effectively creating a shadow. Your brain will filter them out and actually fill in the gaps so that you don't see this network of black lines that looks like a spider's web. However, you can visualize them by shining the light diagonally into your eye, not directly, and gently moving it. Your brain will not have enough time to filter this out, and you will see a network of blood vessels that looks like a spider's web. I find it easier to see this effect in a dark room because the contrast is higher. You need to look directly in front of you and illuminate the pupil at a 45-degree angle from the side, directing the beam at your nose at a distance of about 20 centimeters from it. Your phone's flashlight will do just fine. If possible, set it to the lowest brightness. Then shake the phone 1 centimeter gently from side to side. Hold it for at least a second. You should see it. I hope this has clarified the situation a bit. If it hurts, stop. It shouldn't be painful. Either the light is too bright, or it's pointed directly at your eyes, or it's too close. Pope Formosus lived in 896 AD and was pope from 891 until his death. 7 months after his death, Pope Stephen VI ordered his body exhumed and put on trial for perjury. He was found guilty, and his corpse was thrown into the Tiber River, where it washed ashore. There, the body is said to have begun to perform miracles. Pope Theodore II pardoned Formosus. His skeleton was reburied in St. Peter's Basilica. However, when Pope Sergius III came to power, he reversed Theodore's decision to pardon Formosa. He ordered an inscription to be placed on Formosa's grave that further condemned him. At the same time, Pope Sergius III also forbade any future trials over corpses. What strange facts do you know? Let us know in the comments. Dear friends, thank you for every like, comment, subscription, and call. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video.